Okay, so we now move on to the other stage. Now, this was a fundamentally more difficult playlist for me to pick. I'm going to go first because otherwise I'm just going to keep changing my mind. I have gone for Something Good Can Work, Two Door Cinema Club. I have gone for probably my most controversial of my four. I have gone for Kate Nash, Merry Happy. I've gone for Coheed and Cambria, Welcome Home, and Temper Trap, Fader. I would imagine, barring maybe the first one, none of which will appear certainly on Pete's list. But we will see in just a moment. Let's go with Tom first.
I'm just going to say, I don't understand the hype around Two Door Cinema Club. Never have. Like, the songs are all right.
Song, the one we discussed in the last in the last chat, I think it's a really good tune. This one, I don't think is very good at all. In fact, it just sounds like a poor imitation of it.
Well, I kind of feel like, you saying that, most of their songs sound really, really similar to one another.
I've got no love for that one. This is why it doesn't appear on my list anyway. But go on.
Coheed and Cambria, like, I haven't picked it, but that dude's voice is so good. But good in the fact that it's like nothing else you would hear. I could have easily just let you two pick and I'd have been happy, but I didn't go for Merry Happy because I just don't think it's one of her better songs, but I did like listening to it again.
So it's my favourite Kate Nash song, so that's why.
Oh,
yeah, I really like that song.
What is it that does it for you?
I just think it's the perfect concoction of what Kate Nash is. Just that kind of like slightly trying to think how to voice my opinion on it, and I just think it's got a sort of chirpy little tune to it. It highlights enough of her quite individual vocal sound without it being too grating, like Foundations can be at times. And I just think it's a good little tune, and it helps, I think, because it I remember it appearing in Community.
It does.
And every time that little segment comes on in Community, I'm like, oh yeah, cool.
What one thing I was gonna say, like, what's your thoughts on Bulletproof by LaRue? Because that song has been played to death, but I don't think it's ever gonna be bad.
LaRue is an interesting one for me because I disagree with you. I've always actually quite liked that song, but having listened to it this week a couple of times when listening through this playlist, I found it just so boring. I've always preferred the remix versions of her songs to the actual original.
Yeah. How many of these songs were played on repeat when you worked in retail? Because I'm pretty certain that Next just had this exact playlist on repeat.
Yeah. I mean, they're all slightly different era, the tracks that were picked, but I mean, I definitely remember. Actually, I don't know. I mean, Magic Numbers, definitely, that would have been played over and over again.
Bulletproof was.
Bulletproof was one, yeah, definitely.
From School was.
I think the slight difference with where I work, so at the time when a lot of this stuff was out, I would have been working at HMV. And we on occasion had HMV radio on, which obviously would be highlighting things that were current. But when it wasn't on, I think we had like a 5 CD multi-changer. And if that was being done for the customers, then that would be current stuff. So that would be things like Magic Numbers. I remember the second Editor's album, which was massively more popular, if I remember, in terms of mass appeal. First album was a better album in my view, but the second album was way more popular. I think got to number one. That album was played to death in HMV. If I'd heard Smokers Outside the Hospital Doors one more time,
good tune though.
It was. But I can't listen to it now. It gives me like I tense up.
I think if I had to choose, then it's going to be most definitely "We Are Scientists," because I don't think there's a song on this list that I think is better than that one. Dog Days Are Over, just because it was on repeat in Next for close to 2 years. So I think it's part of me now. I'm never going to be able to get away from that.
Yeah.
And then I listened to Hey Scenesters by the Cribs, and I was thinking, oh, we discussed them before, and we like it was up and down on what was good and what wasn't. This did not have the same effect as the last one on me. I much preferred the previous song.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd heard this song in a long time, and listening to this playlist, I heard that and just thought, this is shit.
Yeah,
this is actually awful song. It's just boring. It's just Hey Scenesters, hey Scenesters. It's just pretty much over and over again. So that was definitely not one of mine. Go on.
And then I had Not 19 Forever by the Cortinas. And I'll be honest, I forgot to pick a fourth. So I'm just going to run my finger up and down the playlist and choose one. And I'm going to go for...
You're aren't you?
I've landed on Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria, which I'm not opposed to. I like the song.
Pete.
Firstly, I went for Munich by Editors. I had a big boner for that album when it came out. I saw before that first album came out, or not long after it came out, I saw them at I was at uni in Bath at Moles Club. I remember standing by the wall where the tour poster was, and I knew another guy had his eye on it, so I was right there with it. So as soon as the gig ended, I was having that. Still got it somewhere. It's worth precisely nothing, I'd imagine, considering they're not a massive band. But I think it's a great song. I used to have the single of that as well. I think I got rid of that. But yes, Munich by Editors. I went for Florence and the Machine. Dog Days Are Over. I didn't really get her when she first started. Only later on did I kind of start to appreciate her. But that's a great tune. Another one from my uni days, We Are Scientists. I think that's a brilliant, not their best, but it's a brilliant song. So my fourth one, I was very much tempted to put MGMT because I'm more familiar with it. I kind of lost track of LCD around the time of their third album and then subsequent split. But I've listened to this a few times now from this playlist, and I really like Oh Baby by LCD Sound System. So I've picked that. So I've gone Florence, Editors, We Are Scientists, and LCD Sound System.
See,
again, I don't understand the fascination with LCD Sound System.
Some of them I'm not really fussed for, but when they're good, they are really good.
And they're another one. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen them live, Pete, but
I have. I went to see them at Brixton Academy, and they started by playing what's the one about friends? All of my friends.
So it's called All My Friends, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. So it's called. It's that song, and they started with that, and it's quite a long track, and they played that all the way through, and then the singer, what's his name?
God, I can't remember his name now.
It's on the tip of my brain, but he said, "Oh crap, like the keyboards weren't plugged in. Do you want to hear it again?" And everyone was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "No, I don't really. It's a good tune, but I've just been listening to it for 6 or 7 minutes now," and they played it again. They literally played it again. It was a great performance. It just kind of put me on the back foot a little bit because It was either that. It was either us. It was either all my friends. Or it was us versus them.
Yeah.
And I was happy with what I'd already seen, and I really didn't need to hear it again.
Yeah.
It kind of, although the rest of the gig was great, it just kind of like put me a little bit on the back foot in truly being able to enjoy the rest of the gig.
Yeah.
But their good tunes are really, really good. So I've gone with that.
I think the difficulty as a whole with this playlist is barring one or two, I'd have been happy for any of these to get picked. You know, Hot Chip Boy from School, that just takes me all the way back to when I was first going into sort of indie clubs, and this was always on.
I like that album a lot, but that of all the tracks on that album, this would be near the bottom for me.
Yeah. Dog Days Are Over, I think is my favourite Florence track, and I really like that track. Bulletproof, as I said at the time, loved it. Love some remixes of it, but I'm not a fan of the tune anymore. Not 19 Forever. Cortinas were someone that I kind of missed a bit. I didn't really listen to them until much later, and I really like that track. Although I haven't listened to a lot more Cortinas, so don't know. Stranglers, No More Heroes, that was in my list and I crossed it out and put something else in instead. Love the Stranglers. Saw them at Glastonbury that year and they did not disappoint. They were absolutely fantastic. In the middle of the day, hearing Golden Brown was just amazing. No More Heroes, not my favourite track of theirs, but a good tune. I am partial to a little bit of Magic Numbers. I like Forever Lost, but in general, I found them a bit sort of placid and boring.
Yeah, they're one of those bands. Like I don't think anyone would ever say their favourite band was the Magic Numbers.
Editors Munich. It took a lot for that not to be in my 4. I agree with you, Pete. I think it's absolute powerhouse track as well. Hey Scenesters, I agree with you guys, not as good as Men's Needs. The most interesting one on this list for me is the National, because I had never, I don't think, listened to a National track before starting to do Beat the Lockdown. And
decent.
Yeah, I only haven't included this in my 4 because these other tracks are all tracks that go back years for me, but that track in particular, and some of the others that I've been reviewing for other playlists, because they appeared quite heftily on festival lineups for a few years. That's a really good song, and they're a good band, who I wish I'd given more time to at the time. Spoke about Mary Happy, I just really like that track. Code and Cambria, Welcome Home. What a song. Reef, Place Your Hands, classic track. But
maybe classic. It doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah,
it's bad.
It's an overplayed track from that era. I'm with you on that one with LCD Sound System, Old Baby. Like, wasn't a track I thought I'd heard before. Played it and was like, oh yeah, I've heard this loads of times. I didn't know this was LCD Sound System. Yeah, again, nearly on my list. MGMT, that album I was obsessed with for about 6 months. Now, going back to it, I find it really difficult to listen to.
That would have been number 5. If we'd had 5, I'd have put that.
Yeah, I mean, over time, it would have been number 1 on my list, but I've just not listened to MGMT for a while now, and struggled when I went back and tried to listen to them. Nobody Move, Nobody Get Hurt. Again, another one I struggled not to put on there. And actually, now looking at it, I'm glad you guys both picked it, because I'd probably have it over the Two Door Cinema Club track. Temper Trap, Fader. I absolutely love that song. Sweet Disposition is a very good track, but I prefer Fader. I just really like the guy's voice. He almost sort of I'm trying to think of the band that he reminds me of, the lead singer. Might be the Fine Young Cannibals. Right. So our choices there were.
I think I'm going to lose my streak here.
What's that?
I think my clean sheet's going to come to an end with this
one. I'm thinking it might. There's only 3 that got multiples. So Welcome Home by Code and Cambria, me and Tom picked. Nobody Move, Nobody Get Hurt. You guys both picked. Dog Days Are Over, you guys both picked. But then we've got Something Good Can Work, Merry Happy, Fader, Not 19 Forever, Munich, and Old Baby by LCD Sound System all got 1 each.
Okay.
I would say of that lot, in terms of trying not to be selfish, I would say probably Munich.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move Munich on then.
Right, 3 out of 4. That's not bad.
Oh, I shouldn't have picked one of yours, should I? Damn it. Right, okay, so they are our picks for the Festival Face-Off playlist this week. So Glastonbury main stage and Glastonbury other stage. We picked from the other stage, Welcome Home, Code and Cambria, Nobody Move, Nobody Get Hurt, We Are Scientists, Dog Days Are Over, Florence and the Machine, and Munich, the Editors. Sorry.